As a quilter, we do a lot of ironing. And if you're like me, sometimes I have a little bit of iron envy maybe. But I've discovered a thing or two about the variety of irons that are out there, and I want to share those tidbits of information with you. So if you're interested and wondering, oh man, what iron should I buy for my quilting? Stay tuned. Hi, I'm Wendy J. Haney, and obviously, this is my channel. I'm here because I love to quilt and I want to share that enjoyment with you. So here we go. Let's get started. I've been quilting for a long time, and therefore I have used a variety of irons. And yeah, I'll admit, I actually recently acquired a new one of the new Oliso ones that it's supposed to, you iron here and you let go of it and it just pops itself up on feet. Well, it just arrived because it was a huge delay in getting it, so I'm not going to get into that one. I will give you a demo and my thoughts on that one once I've had an opportunity to use it for a while. But here's the thing. When I started sewing at all, not just quilting, but any kind of sewing, I had a basic iron. What is this? I've had this one for stinking forever. It is a General Electric. It's got a nice sole plate. It's got steam. You can put water in it. Yeah, it worked. That's what I used, and I never thought anything about it. When I grew up, we always put distilled water in our iron. So, can have a conversation on that one a little bit. But this iron worked great. It did the job. Until I went to a friend's house to quilt for a long trip. I drove out to Denver and was at my friend's Kelly's, and she had a Rowenta. Yep. The Rowenta iron. It's not a cheap iron. If you're lucky, Joanne has some good deals once in a while and you can get a really good price, or you get one of those 40% off coupons, which is the bomb, which is what I did. The thing I liked about her Rowenta that really set it apart from mine was the weight of it. It was good and heavy. So when pressing seams, that weight of that iron really helped. And I really liked that. So what did I do? Yeah, I went home and bought one. Of course, I got that 40% off coupon, so that kept the cost reasonable. And I loved this one. Had great steam, great heat, until it started spitting. Yep, all of a sudden it started spitting brown gook. It's like, oh man. I can't afford to have it do that. Once you get that brown gook, I'd have to wash my fabric and at the time, I'm doing machine embroidered dish towels. So it's really important for me to get a really good pressing on my dish towels. Well, white dish towel, brown gook coming out of my iron, not good, not good. So, put up with it for a while. Then I was at a quilt retreat and one of my other friends, she's just got one of these good old-fashioned Black & Decker irons. Well, guess what? They're not old-fashioned. It's a Black & Decker iron. Basically, it's the same iron that my mother has that I grew up with. You can still buy them on Amazon, go to Walmart. I went back and bought one. The sucker's heavy. It is a good heavy one, and the steam is awesome. What I discovered I didn't like about this one is the timeout, which is funny because I later discovered after reading my documentation on both of these, both of them have an 8-minute timeout. So if you do your iron and then you go do something else, you're cutting for a while and you go back, both of those will auto turn off in 8 minutes. But there's a huge price difference between the Black & Decker and the Rowenta. Pretty significant. Maybe this is probably at least double what this is. This one has been fantastic. And this is what I've been using so far because it just works. It's a good one, good steam. Yep, it works. Then a while ago, I was at Quilt Retreat again. And this time a friend had the Oliso. And I'm not even sure if I'm pronouncing that right, but I decided to order one because one, I wanted to really see if this one is that big of a deal or not. So I'm gonna have to wait a while because it just arrived on Friday before I can give you a good review on that and what I think. I also have other irons that are for odds and ends. I have this one that I bought. It is a Clover. I thought I needed one that was really little on the end for my appliques. Hardly ever gets used because I can use my big iron and just put a pressing cloth on. I used one of those, oh shoot, what do I call it? Applique sheets, a pressing sheet. And it works great because then I can use my big iron and not burn my finger trying to hold on to something. So that works great. The other one I have is a mini iron. I happened to just win this at a quilt guild. And it's handy, it's got steam, it presses good, and if I need to go somewhere, I've got something handy. In general, at home, it never gets used. But if I go to a retreat or somewhere where I actually can have my own iron by myself, and I'm limited on how much space I have to take stuff, this is really handy. This is a steam fast iron, so it does steam also. So that is my basic thoughts and why and how I have so many irons. Here are a few things to think about when you're thinking about getting your first iron. I'm guessing if you're already married or somebody, or if you've done any kind of ironing of clothes, you've got an iron. Well, guess what? That will do just fine. That's what this iron was. This was always my iron from, I don't know, probably college, and it worked. Or I don't know, maybe a wedding gift. We have like, I don't know, 3 or 4 of those in the house between Kevin and I and gifts. They work. They're not very expensive, and so, well, it's one of those things. All of these irons are eventually going to cause a problem. Something's not gonna work. You're gonna drop it. Yeah, I dropped one. It now has a rattle. So figured probably wasn't a good thing to be plugging it in anymore. But it happens. So the question you need to ask yourself is it really worth it to invest in an iron that costs a lot of money? And what am I getting for that extra money? Is it better off to go to Walmart, Amazon, and buy a Black & Decker super duper heavy, nice, simple, inexpensive iron, and if it kapoots out in 3 years, so what? You didn't invest a lot in it. Or you buy a more expensive one, and then when it kapoots out or something happens, you go, wow, that really maybe wasn't worth the money. These are all things that you need to decide. Here are a few of my thoughts. My extra special ones, don't need, rarely used. You know, maybe if you do applique, I don't. My little one, if I hadn't won it, I wouldn't have one. Because if I go to quilt retreats and need my own iron, I just bring my big one. So there's my thoughts on that. As far as my main irons, here are some things that you want to think about. The biggest thing is when you get a new iron, pay attention to a few things. One, how long is the auto shut on and off? You know, this one really started bothering me when it was shutting off after 8 minutes. Whereas I've discovered the Rowenta does the same thing, but I don't know why I didn't seem to be as bothered by that. This one takes a little more, you gotta tilt it upside down like this in order to get it to actually turn back on and start heating up again. Both of these are 8 minutes from the time I stop using them before they shut off. I have no idea on this one. As far as I know, it probably doesn't even have an auto shut off, which, I don't know, maybe that's not so bad. If you remember to shut it off before you leave and quit quilting, or make sure you always unplug it. The Oliso has a 30-minute timeout. So if I leave it, it's gonna stay on for 30 minutes, which I'm thinking I'm gonna probably like that. Because sometimes when I'm doing things, especially if I'm doing a video, I'm over here, I'm doing things, and then I need a quick iron, and my iron shut off. So I might find that handy. The other thing is pay attention when you get it. And I don't care which one you buy or what it needs, but I just always assumed irons needed distilled water. That's because that's what we always used when I was growing up with the good old-fashioned Black & Decker. That is not the case. I'm afraid that the Rowenta started spitting because if I'd read the directions, it would have told me, use regular tap water. Do not use distilled water. That just floored me. Even after I've tried to clean it, it still spits occasionally. So this sucker, yeah, it's not gonna be used unless I want an iron to do, I don't know, craft projects where I might get the bottom icky. So pay attention to what type of water it needs. Now, if you have super hard water, then oftentimes they will say use part tap water and part spring water or part distilled. Pay attention to it to make sure your iron lasts as long as it should. The other thing is, do you need to empty the reservoir in between ironings? I never have, never did when we were a kid, so never thought about it. Yeah, I guess I should have read instructions more. The Rowenta and Olufso says, yes, empty the water from the reservoir. The Black & Decker says, you don't need to empty the water, but make sure the steam button is down, therefore not having steam to protect the water from going into the reservoir. Okay, I like that idea. So those are things to keep in mind. So basically, your iron, for the most part, is not going to change your quilting. The one thing I would suggest you do, though, is if you're looking for another one, I do like the heavier iron. I feel it gives me a better press with my seams, but you know what? My quilting seemed to be pretty dang good when I had my lightweight General Electric, whatever iron this is. So there you have it. Don't get ironing envy from your friends. Find one, pick one, read the directions, and do the best you can to make sure that they last because you've read the directions. And it doesn't need to be an expensive iron. Hope that helps you be comfortable with whatever choice you make for the purchase of your next iron. Take care and have a great day. Thank you so much for watching. I very much appreciate it. If you want to make sure you don't miss a single video I published, hit the subscribe button below and then hit the bell icon. And that way you will be notified whenever I publish a new video. But you can also find me over on Facebook, facebook.com/Wendy, the initial J, Haney, or I have a Facebook group for those of you that love quilting, needlework, books, wine, and wellness. You can find that at facebook.com/groups/lifefulfilled. The name of the group is Life Fulfilled Quilting, Needlework, Books, Wine, and Wellness. You can also find me over on my website, wendyjhaney.com. I will be doing more blogging over there eventually. As I get more of my videos done, I'll be blogging about those. But also, maybe you see some things that I'm making here and you're going, ooh, wow, I just don't want to make that myself. Well, a lot of those products will end up over there on the website that you can purchase for your friends and family. Once again, thank you so much for your support, and I appreciate you watching.